Okay, in my opinion, you need to memorize how exponential equations work, okay? At a few points during this test, I've talked about what I call the open formula, and the reason that I made this formula up is specifically to deal with percentages on the SAT. Now, the good thing about this formula is it also works when we're dealing with exponential equations because exponentials involve percentages, at least most of the time on the SAT, and we can use this same structure to guide us. So I'll cover again what these pieces mean. O stands for the original amount. P stands for the percentage, and especially when we have exponentials, we're going to be talking about the percentage in terms of plus or minus. So 1 plus or minus the percentage. E stands for equals, and N stands for the new amount. Now, specifically, when we have an exponential equation, we're going to have another piece that gets added on to this, because it's not just that we're taking the percentage once, we're taking it again and again and again every year, I guess, in this case. And so all we got to do is add a t to the top of the percentage, and now we're good. Now we have an exponential equation. And it's going to match up with what they kind of gave us already. So let's see. The initial deposit, the original amount, is $100. It earns 2% interest. So when we write that, we're going to use a plus because it's adding on. And it's 2%, so we have to write that as a decimal. And there we go. It's going to be 0.02, and that's going to give us the new value, or whatever the value of the account is in t years, right? So there you go. And if we simplify that, 1.02 to the t, and we can see that that matches with this formula that they gave us pretty nicely. What is the value of x? Well, it's 1.02. So that is important. We need to understand how exponential growth and decay work. This formula helps us structure that, the open formula. You could have arithmetized here, though. So if you didn't have that formula memorized and you still got this wrong, I'd say, you kind of gave up too soon, because we have enough information that we could figure that out, right? Arithmetize lets us do that, right? We know, okay, if it's going to earn 2% interest per year, we probably know enough about percentages to think, okay, well, that's going to be 100 times 2%. So that's 100, or that's just actually, be careful, Mike. That is $2, right? So when t is equal to 1, we know that the new amount is $102. And so we can take that equation, 100 times x to the t, and that's going to be 102. And now we can just substitute in 1 for t, and we see 100x is equal to 102. We can divide to get the 1.02 that we saw before. So that's a good thing that comes up on a lot of exponential equations, especially because we're going to have the calculator, and so the weirdness of the numbers won't bother us as much because the calculator can handle that. But arithmetize, when you're stuck, is a very useful tool on exponential equations. It usually works. But the best thing, like I said, is to have this formula down. It's going to come up on percentages. It's going to come up on exponentials. If you know it well, this question 37 takes literally 2 seconds, and you're super confident in it because you just understand how exponential growth is going to look in an equation. And this is exactly as expected.